Please stand by.
Loading. Loading complete.
30,
29, 28,
27,
26, 25, 24,
23,
22,
21, 20, 18,
17,
16, 15, 14, 13,
12,
11, 10,
9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
4,
2,
1. Now for what you've all been waiting for.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Good morning, good day, good evening, good night, good whatever it happens to be where you are. And hello to everybody who watches this in the future. Whew. Excuse me for being about a minute late. Like it really matters. Just being that. But had a little last minute thing to take care of. uh, no, I don't see anybody in the chat yet. So I guess I'll just get to the song. Ain't we got fun? Every morning, every evening, ain't we got fun? Not much money, oh, but honey, ain't we got fun? The rent's unpaid, dear, we having a buzz. The smiles were made, dear, for people like us. In winter, in the summer, don't we have fun? Times are bumming, getting bummer, still we have fun. There's nothing sure, the rich get rich and the poor get poor. In the meantime, in between time, ain't we got fun? Tax collectors getting closer, still we have fun. Tunes and cares, dear, come in pairs, dear, don't we have fun? We've only started, no, we're not downhearted. When I'm laid off, I'll be paid off, ain't we got fun? Times is mad and getting madder, ain't we got fun? Times are bad and getting badder, still we have fun. There's nothing sure, the rich get rich and the poor get poor. In the meantime, in between time, ain't we got fun? Yes, well, I do hope we have fun today. I'm actually not very prepared for tonight's show. But we will work with what I've got. So, let's see. Still don't see anybody in the chat yet, so I guess we'll just get into the wheel. Let's see what the wheel gives us. Me and my shadow. It's a short one. We'll have to do another one after that. Me and my shadow strolling down the avenue. Me and my shadow, not a soul to tell our troubles to. When it's 12 o'clock, we climb the stairs. We never knock, 'cause no one's there. Just me and my shadow, all alone and feeling blue. That's me and my shadow. Hope I'm not going to be just my shadow here today. Yeah, might as well just do another song here while we wait. Get something a little bit longer, hopefully. Do-do-do. Do you? Hope you do. I was oh so blue till you came along, just to make my life a wonderful song. You brought sunshine just to brighten my loneliness. Is it any wonder my happiness? I confess. Do I want you? Oh my, do I? Honey, did I do? Do I need you? Oh my, do I? Honey, did I do? I'm glad that I'm the one who found you. That's why I'm always hanging around you. Do I love you? Oh my, do I? Honey, did I do? There are lots of others that I have met. Those you meet today, tomorrow forget. You're the only one who ever could stand the test. That's the reason why I choose you from the rest. You're the best. Do I want you? Oh my, do I? Honey, did I do? Do I need you? Oh my, do I? Honey, did I do? And just one more song to get us kicked off. How's that sound? Is I have There we are. Beautiful dreamer, wake unto me. Starlight and dewdrops are waiting for thee. Sounds of the rude world, heard in the day, lulled by the moonlight, have all passed away. Beautiful dreamer, queen of my song, list while I woo thee with soft melody. Gone are the cares of life's busy throng. Beautiful dreamer, awake unto me. Beautiful dreamer, awake unto me. Beautiful dreamer, out on the sea. Mermaids are chanting the wild lorry. Over the streamlet, vapors are born, waiting to fade at the bright coming morn. Beautiful dreamer, beam on my heart, and as the morn on the streamlet and sea, then will all clouds of sorrow depart. Beautiful dreamer, awake unto me. Beautiful dreamer, awake unto me. Beautiful dreamer. Oh, there's a nice little addition StreamYard's add. I can actually see if my microphone's working without having to have my camera turned off. Thank you, StreamYards, for finally adding something that's actually useful for a change. Well, I hope everybody enjoys today. I guess we'll get to the people we've lost along the way here. So, let's see. Start here. Actually, in second thoughts, we'll start with the other one. Got two people here we gotta cover. There we are. Michael Madsen in Reservoir Dogs actor dies at 67. That's far too young. He also had made the Kill Bill films, Hateful Eight, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, with Quentin Tarantino. Michael Madsen, the rough and tumble actor, best known for his work in Quentin Tarantino's film Reservoir Dogs, Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2, The Hateful Eight, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, died Thursday morning. He was 67. Madsen was found unresponsive by deputies responding to a 911 call while at the Malibu home, pronounced dead at 8:25 a.m. at Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department spokesman told The Hollywood Reporter. Liz Rodriguez, his rep at EMR Media Entertainment, told THR, "We understand Michael had cardiac arrest." Madison's official bio notes that he balanced intensity with introspection, whether delivering chilling dialogue or quietly capturing a moment behind the camera. His commitment to storytelling remains constant. He brought both edge and soul to every role. His enduring influence in American cinema is undeniable. His big screen body of work includes War Games from 1983, The Natural from 1984, The Doors, 1991, Thelma and Louise, also from 1991, Free Willy, 1993, Species from 1995. I actually remember him in Species. Mulholland Falls from 1996, Donnie Brasco from 1997, Die Another Day from 2002, Sin City from 2005, and Scary Movie 4 from 2006. That's quite a range. He has 346 acting credits and counting on IMDb in a career that began in the early 1980s. Fame is a two-edged sword, he told THR's Scott Roxborough in 2018. There are a lot of blessings, but also a lot of heavy things that come with it. I think it has a lot to do with the characters I've played. I think I've been in more believable than I should have been. I think people really fear me. They see me and go, "Holy shit, there's that guy." But I'm not that guy. I'm just an actor. I'm a father. I've got 7 children. I'm married. I've been married 20 years. When I'm not making a movie, I'm home in my pajamas watching the Rifleman on TV. Hopefully with my 12-year-old making me a cheeseburger. Cheeseburger. I sure as hell had my rabble-rousing days, but sooner or later you have to get over that and move on. He appeared in dozens of films in the past 5 years alone, many of which were unforgettable. Well, sometimes people forget that sometimes you have to pay the mortgage. Sometimes you have to put your kids through school. He said, "You can't always pick the greatest script, and you pick a project that you shouldn't be involved in. Then you have to live with it all your life." Michael, well, was one of the greatest American actors. His friend and lawyer peer Perry E. Wander said in a statement. His on-screen presence was macho, but he was a very sweet, sensitive man, and who wrote incredible poetry and had it published in a number of books. I'm gonna have to see if I can find some of his poetry now. He was my dearest friend and then client for the past 20 years, and I will miss him. I am so sad. I know his soul is at peace. One of three kids, Madison was born in Chicago on September 25th, 1957. His father, Calvin, was a firefighter with the Chicago Fire Department. His mother, Elaine, was an author turned filmmaker who won an Emmy in 1983 for producing the documentary Better Than It Has to Be. About the history of movie making in the Windy City, his folks divorced when he was 11. Inspired by Robert Mitchum in the war movie Heaven Knows Mr. Allison from 1957, Madison began his acting career at the Steppenwolf Theater Company in Chicago, where he learned from John Malkovich and appeared in Of Mice and Men as Carlson, the ranch hand who kills was an innocent dog. After moving to Los Angeles and working as a mechanic at a gas station in Beverly Hills, he appeared in 2 episodes of NBC's Saint Elsewhere in 1982, then played a cop in War Games, directed by John Badham. In Tarantino's directorial debut film Reservoir Dogs, Madison landed the role of the ultra-cruel Mr. Blonde. He said he wanted to play Mr. Pink because he had more lines with the veteran in Harvey Keitel. But Stephen Buscemi, he got the part. It was a psychotic Mr. Blonde or nothing, Tarantino told him. I had never met Quentin before, he told The Independent in 2016. In an interview in 2016. I walked in the room at the 20th Century Fox lot, and he was standing there with his arms folded. Harvey sitting on the couch in bare feet. He did get to cut off a cop's ear in the movie, however. For Tarantino's follow-up, Pulp Fiction, in 1994, Madsen declined in the role of Vincent Vega, which went into John Travolta in what it would be an Oscar-nominated turn. He had already committed to play Virgil Earp in Lawrence Kasdan's Wyatt Earp from 1994. In the martial arts action film Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2, were released in 2003 and 2004, Madsen played the assassin Bud, codename Sidewinder, and strip club bouncer who is an early target of the avenging bride, Uma Thurman. He then was the quiet cowpoke Joe Gage in The Hateful Late, and Sheriff Hackett on Bounty Law, the fictional 1960s TV show at the center of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Quentin is, in my estimation, the best director of my generation. He's up there with George Stevens and Alfred Hitchcock, Elia Kazan. He told Roxborough. Because of my relationship with him, it became bigger than anything I ever did. And then in Kill Bill, but the final stamp on that one. It's a great blessing to have. Excuse me. It's a great blessing to have that. And at the same time, it is really hard to get out of it, and people don't want you to get out of it. But if you're an actor, you want to act. You want to try different stuff. And boy, did he. But it is becoming a very, very desperate game. It is becoming a very, very hard and competitive industry. And social media is really brutal. That's for sure. The funny thing is, if you look for good things, you are going to find them. If you look for bad things, you're going to find them too. And most people, sadly, want to look for the bad things. I'd say that's a pretty good thing to keep in mind in going forward. I might have to copy that quote. In addition to his mother, survivors include his two sisters, Oscar-nominated actress Virginia Madsen, and Charles, his third wife, Diana, whom he married in 1996, and his children Christian, Max, Cal, and Luke. His son Hudson died by suicide in 2022, at age 26. Oh, that's a shame. Virginia Madsen, on Facebook, wrote, "We're not mourning a public figure. We're not mourning a myth, but flesh and blood, and ferocious heart, who storm through life loud, brilliant, and half on fire, who leaves us echoes, gruff, brilliant, unrepentable, half legend, half lullaby. I'll miss our inside jokes, the sudden laughter, the sound of him. I'll miss the boy he was before the legend. I miss my big brother." Madsen also was a published poet and accomplished photographer, and he has a book, Tears from My Father, her outlaw thoughts and poems, due out next year. I'll have to keep an eye out for that myself. Writers Tarantino and forward. For me, the real journey that Michel, the writer, is exploring is what it means to be a man in a world where the notions of manhood that some of us screw up with are barely remembered. But then, if everybody embarked on the hero's journey, everyone would be a hero, wouldn't they? That's an interesting quote. It looks like that's it for that one. Oh, and got some people finally. Miss Sparkles, hello, howdy. My unfinished journey. Hey, gang. In Casey's Creepy Creations, nice to have you here. And hail, to you. Well, on to our next person here on the lineup for who we should cover. Star Wars actor Kenneth Colley. He's at 87, and after contracting COVID and pneumonia. Oh, that's a rough 1-2 punch. Whew. I had pneumonia back in September. I almost didn't make it myself. So I can imagine COVID and pneumonia on top, both together, is just nasty. Kenneth portrayed Admiral Petty in the original Star Wars trilogy, and Jesus in Monty Python's 1979 comedy Life of Brian. Life of Brian's probably one of my favorite Monty Python movies. Kenneth Collin, an actor best recognized as the Star Wars character Admiral Pet, Pete, died at 87 on Sunday, June 30th, as his agent Julian Owen confirmed to People on Thursday, July 3rd. Colley, he appeared in over 150 on-screen roles between 1961 and 2024. He contracted COVID and subsequently developed pneumonia before his death, as his agent said. I was dealing with bronchitis after my pneumonia. That was rough, and I've only recently been getting over the bronchitis for quite a while here. Colley, his other notable roles include playing Jesus in Monty Python's 1979 comedy Life of Brian, which we said. His agent said that one of his favorite roles was in a 2014 production of the play Waiting for Godot in London. 2000 production of the Waiting for Godot in London. Never heard of it. Might have to look it up though if it was one of his favorite roles. Kenneth, an actor known best for portraying one of Darth Vader's admirals in the original Star Wars trilogy, has died. We already covered that. People confirm Colley's death with his agent Julia Owens on Thursday, July 3rd. The agent said in a statement that Colley died on Sunday, June 30th, at his home in Kent, in England, after he contracted COVID and developed pneumonia. The BBC was the first to report news of his death. Ken Colley, he was one of our finest character actors, with a career spanning 60 years. Owen's statement read, Ken continually worked on stage, film, and television, playing a vast array of characters, from Jesus to Monty Python's Life of Brian, and to evil and eccentric characters in Ken Russell films. The Duke of Vian and Shakespeare's Measure of Measure for the BBC. Owen said in his statement that Colley was admitted into a hospital after he injured his arm in a fall, and quickly he contracted COVID, which developed into pneumonia, into a pneumonia diagnosis. The actor passed away peacefully with his friends inside his bedside, Owen said. Well, at least he had people who were with him. As Owen's statement mentioned, Colley's role in the 1969 Monty Python comedy Life of Brian was among one of his best-known film parts, but many more moviegoers will recognize him as a Star Wars character Admiral Pyatt, who appeared alongside Darth Vader in 1980. He's The Empire Strikes Back, in 1983's Return of the Jedi. As the Atlantic noted in a 2015 article, Colley's run in both Empire and Jedi makes him the only actor to portray an imperial officer in the original 6 Star Wars movies who appears in more than one film. Outside of Star Wars and Life of Brian, Colley he held an acting career that lasted more than 5 decades. He had made his screen acting debut in the early 1960s. He's in roles in episodes of Andromeda, the Plane Makers, and added dozens of roles to his resume before being cast in Star Wars. Ken's favorite part was playing Estragon in the stage production of Beckett's classic Waiting for Godot at the Cockpit Theatre in London, and in 2014. Owen said in his statement, Ken's participation in Star Wars has led him to being invited to conventions and official fan events all over the world, where he remains one of the best loved actors from the original trilogy. Ken loved his garden. Oh, I'm a gardener too. Uh, art collecting and had a passion for fast cars. Monty Python and comedian and Michael Pullen, and who co-starred with Collie in Life of Brian, and told The Independent in a statement on July 3rd that Collie was always dependable, always convincing, and great to work with. We have lost a very special actor and a very good man, and Palin said. Most recently, Collie appeared in a 2024 movie entitled Dan Hawk Looks Psychic Detective, and lent his voice to a short film entitled I Am Tree in 2023. Another notable movie he's appeared in includes 1982's Firefox, 1999's Holding On, the 1988 miniseries War and Remembrance, and 1997's Brast Off, among others. And I believe that's the end of that article. Well, it's been a rough week for me, honestly. Nothing major, really, but just a lot of little things piling up. It's one of those weeks, you know. And of course, we should honor everybody who's passed with the parting glass. Of all the money that I had, I spent it in good company, and all the harm I've ever done, alas, it was to none but me, and all I've done for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be to you all. So fill to me the parting glass, and drink a health whatever befall, and gently rise and softly call. Good night and joy be to you all. Of all the comrades that e'er I had, is sorry for my going away, and all the sweethearts that e'er I had did wish me one more day to stay. But since it fell unto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I gently rise and softly call. Good night and joy be to you all. So fill to me the parting glass, and drink a health whatever befall, and gently rise and softly call. Good night and joy be to you all. But since it has so ought to be, by a time to rise and a time to fall, come fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be to you all. Good night and joy be to you all. Well, let's try and move on. See what we get on the wheel. Well, as unless anybody has any requests they want to make in the chat, of course, we have the list down and below in the description. Actually, before I get to the wheel, I think I'm going to have one sip of my Tullamore Dew honey. He is a final goodbye to our fallen. And if you happen to have anything out there that you're drinking, please have one along with me. I gotta get more Tullamore Dew honey. I'm on my last little bit here. Had to be you. Why do I do just as you say? Why must I give you your way? Why do I sigh? Why don't I try to forget? It must be that something lovers call fate kept on saying I had to wait. I saw them all, just couldn't fall till we met. It had to be you. It had to be you. I wandered around and finally found somebody who could make me be blue and make me be true and even be glad just to be sad thinking of you. Some others I've seen might never be mean, might never be cross or try to be boss, but they wouldn't do for nobody else. Gave me a thrill. For all your faults, I love you still. It had to be you, wonderful you. It had to be you. Seems like dreams, like I always had. Could be, should be, make me glad. Why am I blue? It's up to you to explain. Maybe, baby, I'll go away. Someday, some way, you'll come and say, it had to be you. It had to be you. I wandered around and finally found somebody who could make me be true and make me be blue and even be glad just to be sad thinking of you. Some others I've seen might never be mean, might never be cross or try to be boss, but they wouldn't do for nobody else. Gave me a thrill. For all your faults, I love you still. It had to be you, wonderful you. It had to be you. Well, I hope I didn't butcher that song too badly. And let's see here, what do we got here? We got a drink. And we have a request for Free Bird! Okay, we can honor that request with, of course, a spoken version of the song, seeing as it is in the public domain and we don't want to step on any copyright toes. If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? For I must be traveling on now, 'cause there's too many places I've got to see. But if I stay here with you, girl, things just couldn't be the same. 'Cause I'm as free as a bird now, and this bird you cannot change. Oh, 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 this bird you cannot change. And this bird you cannot change. Lord knows I can't change. Bye bye, baby. It's been a sweet love. Yeah, yeah. Though this feeling I can't change. But please, don't take it so badly, 'cause Lord knows I'm to blame. But if I stay here with you, girl, things just couldn't be the same. 'Cause I'm as free as a bird now, and this bird you cannot change. Oh, 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 and this bird you cannot change. And this bird you cannot change. Lord knows I can't change. Lord help me, I can't change. Lord, I can't change. Won't you fly high, free bird? Yeah. Uh, yeah. I, I, I get a kick out of doing that, honestly. Yeah. Well, thank you. I hope this is an awesome show. I already had Mike's Hard Lemonade before the stream started. I don't need another. All right, well, that's fine. Well, if you want, you can just have a little bit of water. That'll go quite well with the alcohol that you already had. Do I know any Marty Robbins? I'm not sure. No, I don't think I know any Martin Robbins. I do stick to. Let me see here. Let's see. Marty Robbins from 1925 to 1982. I imagine there's probably some of his songs are in the public domain I could probably do. I'll try and learn a few for you. If you have any in the public domain that you particularly like, let me know. I'll try and try and work that one out. And if there's one that is in the public domain, or if there is one that's not in the public domain, I can always do a spoken word version like I did with Freebird. Yeah, that'd be part of frivolity. Yes, that's what this is partly about. Now, seeing as I'm completely unprepared for tonight, let's see if I can find. Did I even? I know I created one screenshot. Did I put it somewhere? Where'd it go? There we are. I'll just stick it up here. All right. That'll work. And there we are. Just preparing some stuff here. Hey, Jasper. Okay. Now, even though I actually had 2 weeks to prepare all this, I still didn't have any screenshot. I didn't have a slideshow prepared. So we'll just have to stick with this one image of Mathilda sitting here naked from the day she was born. Of course, I had to pick a scene where she was didn't show that, but if you've seen the movie, you'll know. Well, Toby Hooper came up with the idea of using Halley's Comet in screenplay, rather than in the asteroid belt, as originally used in the novel, as the comet was going to pass by Earth in the year following the movie's release. Honestly, that doesn't sound like that bad of an idea for a change. Dan O'Bannon was displeased with the end result, as he disliked the additional and would later remark that having Toby Hooper directed film was comparable to letting Bozo the Clown helm a film. Boy. Dan O'Brien and was the author of. Oh, no, that wasn't the author. The author was Colin Wilson, the author of the original book, The Space Vampires. Very much disliked the film. Boy, this one's got dunked on, didn't it? Honestly, I always quite liked the film, not just because of a nude, lovely nude lady walking around for well, actually, it wasn't that long, much of time on screen, but hey, very much disliked the film, which with his verdict being, well, at least there's lots of full frontal nudity. Hey, yeah. After its release, Wilson recalled that author John Fowles had regarded the Magus 1968, the movie adaptation of his Epna of his novel, as the worst movie ever made. Wilson then sent Fowles a postcard telling him that he had gone one better, the movie adaptation of his novel The Space Vampires, as Lifeforce. An amusing coincidence, actor Jerome Willis has a supporting role in both films. Mathilda May, who played she was never named, she was just goes by Space Girl, has only 7 minutes of screen time. Sure feels like longer, doesn't it? Maybe it's because of how memorable those scenes are. Most of these scenes she plays is totally nude. Well, in some, she is covered by a diaphanous robe. By contrast, due to censorship rules, they forbade full male nudity. Well, kind of a double standard there, don't you think? Chris Jagger and Bill Mullen, the male vampires, had to be filmed wearing flesh-covered socks over their genitalia, as in case they were inadvertently picked up by cameras. The socks can be seen in a few scenes by freeze framing, then advancing through them. I'll pass. I don't really need to double check a guy's junk personally. But hey, if that's your thing, I mean, go right ahead. Now you know what to look for. Over 1,000 actresses were considered or interviewed for the role of Space Girl. Toby Hooper said it was incredibly difficult to find an actress willing to play the role because it was basically just walking around totally naked most of the time, then having sex. Hey, I got no problem with this. He said in a Blu-ray feature that so many of the English actresses who auditioned refused to fully disrobe for the part, that they had to extend the search beyond on the UK. At one casting session, a group of German actresses even conspired against Hooper by all refusing to do nude scenes. They later found out that one of them wanted the role so badly that she had talked the others into rioting. Okay. I'm not sure what else that one was going to be willing to do for the role. Associate producer Michael J. Kagan said the reason they chose French actress Mathilda May, who couldn't even speak English, apparently neither can I, was because she was one of the few who was willing to strip completely, and because her experience as a ballerina helped her move in disturbing ways. Well, having that ballerina role is definitely helpful in that. Based on behind-the-scenes photos of a very naked Mathilda May chatting with cast and crew while waiting to film, She was very comfortable with the nudity and didn't bother her wearing a robe in between takes. Well, I'm glad that she was comfortable with it. I mean, that's kind of an important thing here, especially for a role like this. In fact, some people joked it was more awkward for them because they had to force themselves to keep looking at her eye the entire time. Well, gravity bends and all. But and that wasn't an easy because she was a gorgeous teen with an almost perfect figure. During filming of May's first scenes, there was a suspiciously high number of carpenters and set constructors present. So the remainder of her scenes were filmed on a closed set. Later in life, May said in an interview that the nudity was very awkward at first, but she got used to it quickly enough. In fact, her biggest issue was that whenever the movie came up, the nude scenes would be all the people talked about, even her native friends, which was the reason for her never to do so much nudity again. Yeah, when I was looking for trivia for this movie, most of it was on her being naked. For years after the film was released, when asked what the first thing that came into his mind when someone mentioned Lifeforce today, Toby Hooper, his answer was a very succinct and timid Mathilda May. The dummies used as desiccated corpses were reused in The Mummy in 1999. It's interesting. You do see a lot of reused props in Hollywood. And those desiccated corpses did look pretty damn good, especially even for the time. Toby Hooper nicknamed the victims of the space vampires the Walking Shriveled. Kind of ironic that later on down the road, we would end up with a zombie film, zombie series and comic book titled The Walking Dead. Nicholas Ball found out his flying harness is for the spacesuit scenes had been worn by Christopher Reeve for the first 3 Superman movies. That's kind of cool to find out. Despite performing poorly at the box office and being critically panned in the US and UK, the film did surprisingly well in Japan. Highly influential Japanese film critic Nagahiro Yodogawa gave the film a very positive review, though he spent most of it raving about the beauty of Mathilda May. Famous manga creator Go Nagai, I'm not sure if how to pronounce that properly, is said to be a big fan of the film, with May, a space girl character, influencing the appearance of the main character in Nagai's Devilman Lady from 1998. I think I've seen Devilman Lady. All those Devilman are pretty good. I'd recommend checking out any one of them that you can find. I do know I'm not sure if they're still on Netflix or not, but they had Devilman Crybaby. It was in English, more of an English dub version, more remake, kind of a remake in English dub. Still good. It hits a lot of the same beats that you'd see in the other Devilmen in versions, so that's worth checking out. I believe it's still on Netflix. According to interviews with Bill Mullen, who plays one of the vampires, this movie went over schedule, and because of this, some important scenes were never filmed. That's a shame. Honestly, I like the film. And like I said, not just because it had some beautiful naked woman walking around for, it says 7 minutes here of the film. In the film, the vampires have a vulnerability to iron weapons, such as iron swords. In folklore, cold iron was supposedly able to repel, well, to contain, or to harm ghosts, fairies, witches, and other malevolent supernatural creatures. According to Blu-ray documentary, the alien spaceship was meant to be designed like a giant phallus. Giggity! At some point, Carlson states is that the corpses on the alien spaceship were bird creatures. This contradicts the scene in depicting these corpses as they were described as extraterrestrial types of giant bats. Cannon's co-financier, TriStar Pictures, contributed approximately $12.5 million to the project. Insisted on changing the title Space Vampires to Lifeforce after the film failed to impress this at its initial press screening. And that would be the last trivia I have on that. I suppose Mathilda may be sleeping in her last coffin for a little bit longer here. It's here. Oh, pride in the badge. And yes, the reading is fine. Okay. Let's see. All right. Yeah, that'd be a. All right, I'll get that in a minute. I think it was a room with a view that had three guys in full frontal for a brief moment. That moment was in the trailer. Well, that's interesting. Overused props include certain actors. Yes, I can think of a few more recent ones. Pedro Pascal. That are being definitely overused actors. Anyway, let's see what we got here. All night long, I tried to sleep, but sleep refused to come. 'Cause today I knew I'd either have to fight or run. Knowing if I choose to run, my mind would never rest. 'Cause with so much pride, I wear this badge upon my vest. Folks are filled with fear because there's three bad guns in town. Sheriff Olson made the wrong move, and he shot him down. One they called Dakota Jack, and one El Paso Red. The other just turned 20, and he's called the Killer Kid. Good advice, I get it, and that's to leave and run away. But my pride and badge I wear won't let me live this way. And if I stay, the three have bagged. They'll add me to their list. But I have a different aim, and I don't aim to miss. From the doorway where I stand, I see the outlaws three. Worry none, because they know the town's not helping me. From 100 yards away, I try a lucky shot. Lucky's with me, and Dakota Jack dies on the spot. Well, a kid runs through the bathroom door, and Red goes up the stairs. The kid is raging mad. He's breaking bottles, kicking chairs. And from a roof, El Paso Red has vowed to pay me back as he views the lifeless body of Dakota Jack. I can see him as he jumps from one rooftop to the next, searching for me, but it has no idea where I'm at. But I watch his every move. I'm ready when he leaps. As I shoot him in midair, he crashes to the street. Now there's one and against, and just one. I've evened up the score. Down the street, I hear y'all come through the room door. The kid has screamed. There's no way I can live unless I run. So there ain't no law dog man enough to take his gun. Through the barroom door, he walks, steps out on the street. I can't match his draw. He's much too fast for me to beat. And as I walk toward him, and we both grab a 45, maybe I will die today, and he will stay alive. Like a hammer, something hits, my spinning in me around. As I fall, I shoot him twice before he hits the ground. His bullet missed me, and still I feel a burning in my chest. His bullet hit at the badge, where my pride upon my vest. As the people view the bodies of the lifeless three, from their looks I know exactly what they think of me. To them, I'm just a killer. They could not care less about my pride, about my the badge I wear upon my vest. Oh, hope that was satisfactory. I know I probably fumbled on a few things there. Yes, unfortunately, being from 1970, from the 1970s, that one is still under copyright. But I'm glad you liked it. Did learn that Big Iron is not public domain. Yeah, it's such a shame how strict they are about all this. Personally, I think we should be able to be free to sing these songs, whether they're public domain or not. What is a song if it cannot be sung? With that, how about we get to the wheel? Skidamarink. All right. Down on the Bola Bola Isles, where the mermaids chant, reigns a big chief crocodile beneath an oyster plant. He loved the scene of selfishly, queen of the gay white wave. Each night, in his shell he'd go to sea, and in tuneful scales he'd rave. Skidamarink-a-dink-a-boop, skidamarink-a-doo, means I love you. Skidamarink-a-dink-a-boop, skidamarink-a-doo, means I'll be true. Skidamarink-a-dink-a-boop, skidamarink-a-doo, all the time he sang this rhyme. Skidamarink-a-dink-a-boop, skidamarink-a-doo, means I love you. But when the midnight moon was pale kingfish Kokomo, came floating over with his tail to say he loved her so. But she was true, the crocodile said, "Coconut, go away. I know in a very little while you'll hear my lover say, Skidamarink-a-dink-a-boop, skidamarink-a-doo, I love you. Skidamarink-a-dink-a-boop, skidamarink-a-doo, I love you. I love you in the morning and in the afternoon. I love you in the evening underneath the moon. Skidamarink-a-dink-a-boop, skidamarink-a-doo, I love you." Yeah, especially the older songs. Yeah, let's see. Well, it's about one more song here. Now, like I said, I may actually be ending this a little early tonight. So I wasn't that prepared. Well, he keeps wanting to come up with all these love songs tonight, don't it? I love you truly. That's a short one, so we can do one more after that. I love you truly, truly, dear. Life with its sorrow, life with its tear. Fade into dreams when I feel you near. For I love you truly, truly, dear. Our love, 'tis something to feel your kind hand. Ah, yes, 'tis something by your side to stand. Gone is the sorrow, gone doubt and fear. For you love me truly, truly, dear. After research, anything that is younger than 95 years old that is copyrighted does not fall under public. It's not fall under public. Yeah, with songs, right now, anything basic, more or less, is anything from 1930 back. You're good with. So I'm kind of looking forward to some songs in the future. Yeah, in the U.S. at least, and of course, systems like YouTube go by U.S. laws. I'm enraged by a hair. I'm Henriette, I am. I got married to the weird next door. She's been married 7 times before, and everyone's named Henry. Henry, she never will learn a Sam. No Sam. I'm Henriette, old man. Henriette, I am. Second verse, same as the first. I'm Henriette, I am. Henriette, I am. I got married to the widow next door. She's been married 7 times before, and all of them named Henry. Henry, she'll never have a will or a Sam. No Sam. I'm Wraith old man, Henriette I am. Oh, I'm Henriette I am, Henriette I am. I got married to the widow next door. She's been married 7 times before, and all of them named Henry. Henry, she would have a will or a son. No son. I'm Wraith old man, Henriette I am. Henry, 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 Henriette I am, Henriette I am. Yeah. What do we have here? In the UK, most of Marty Robbins' music is public domain, and since they're less strict. Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting. But let's see if I can find a good. Let's see what we got here. Okay, that's not. Well, I don't really see any. I'm not coming across any good images here. Let's try one more time here. Well, whoever this is, I guess we can use it. And maybe not. Oh, wait, there we are. Nope, not gonna let me use that one. Okay. Okay, internet, be a pain to me. Yeah, this will work. Yeah, that'll work. There we are. Now, this is kind of a little Kitbashed thing. I was just kind of really playing around yesterday, to come up with this. So he started out with a question to Grok, which was, how do Cybertronians reproduce? The answer seems to depend on what version of Transformer we're looking at. And it basically gave me a rundown of all that. And I kind of have got on to explaining my version, and I kind of thought up for some possibly my own fanfics. I like to do kind of my own world building for my fanfics, and usually involving taking elements from various incarnations and putting them together. And what I came up with is that Primus makes up the core of Cybertron, much like how Unicron is a plant-sized robot. Primus creates the Cybertronians using his own spark, the Allspark. Vector Sigma, Primus's brain, for lack of a better term, shares a connection with the Allspark. The Earthspark, in its natural state, it resides in the well of Allsparks. Mechanical objects directly exposed to the Allspark gain life, creating the first Cybertronians. Now, this is also to address my concepts of why we have male and female Cybertronians. In a lot of versions, this is just more of an aesthetic or a preference that the Cybertronian has, which is perfectly reasonable, especially considering their means of mechanical reproduction and rather than in sexual. But I actually came up with sort of a somewhat sexual version, and where the Cybertronians temporarily will merge their sparks, resulting in them budding a protoform, which is then put into a stasis pod and eventually given a spark by the well of all sparks. So it kind of got it. I kind of went down a rabbit hole from there. We ended up basically creating this whole continuity, seemingly right up to the very end of it here. If I can just find the... nope, that's not it either. Let me see here. There we are. Okay, so for those of you who are Transformers buffs, I'm sure you'll recognize the elements from the various incarnations: G1, by the movies, Beast Wars, the animated series, and so forth. But we start with the light and dark gods. Now, these aren't actual gods per se, but rather an advanced extinct race. They create Primus, the life giver, and Unicron, the destroyer, as their legacy. Their conflict leads to their extinction, leaving Primus and Unicron dormant as moon-sized planetoids. Primus ends up orbiting a star in a semi-stable orbit, whereas Unicron drifts aimlessly through space. Eventually, however, the species known as quintessons discover the Primus, a metallic planetoid. Their ship, exposed to the Allspark and the well of Allsparks, transforms into a living robot. They just you see opportunity in this. They exploit this, animating machines to create a slave race of Cybertronians, building factories that encase Primus, forming the planet Cybertron and then stabilizing its orbit. The first Cybertronians, enslaved robots animated directly by the Allspark. They lack Vector Sigma's guidance, making them erratic and machine-like, similar to later Earthborn Transformers, which we'll get into in a bit. The first Prime. A slave Cybertronian wanders deep into Cybertron, finding Vector Sigma. Prime creates the Matrix of Leadership, or just known as the Matrix, and doing it with his license to counter on misuse. The Cybertronian, in gaining the knowledge and wisdom of Primus, names himself Prima after Primus, becoming the first Prime, gaining wisdom, strength, and knowledge of the Cybertronian's true nature as Primus's creation, not as slave creations of the quintessons. Now, Primus teaches the other Cybertronians their heritage, which fosters independence and begins a growing rebellion against the quintessons. His faction grows, sparking a revolt that expels the quintessons, forcing them to leave, even abandon the planet. Prima introduces spark merging between male and female Cybertronians, triggering protoform budding, in which Vector Sigma induces the sparks from the well. Cybertronians build up Cybertron and further, ushering in a golden age of autonomy in creation, which lasts for millennia, or who knows how long. Megatron's rise. D16, a gladiator from Kaon, and rises as champion Megatronus, naming himself after a rogue Prime. Later shortening the name to Megatron. As his fame, Megatron rallies support, gains political power and admiration, including from the lowly Orion Pax. Megatron overthrows the corrupt Council of Primes, who are not true Primes, and attempts to seize the Allspark. However, in his attempt to take the Allspark, the well is damaged, halting spark production, and without, well, actually, no, it cripples the well, causing an imbalance in the production, skewing female sparks to only be produced 1.5% of the protoforms. As a result, we see a decline in the population. Orion Pax, who had fought in this battle, was gravely injured and discovers the Matrix. Primus restores him as Optimus Prime, the first true Prime in generations. And along with him, he also uses Matrix energy to restore Ariel as Alita 1. She is because of the Matrix energy used to restore her, and she is a specially designed female Autobot who Primus had specially designed and for a possible future role. The Autobot and Decepticon and more. A generation-long war erupts between Optimus This is Autobots and Megatron's Decepticons. Female scarcity in low spark allocation weakens Cybertron. And of course, with the war, many female Autobots are killed. Decepticons gain air superiority, but neither side secures a decisive victory. Megatron makes another bid for the Allspark to raise an army. Optimus exiles it to Earth to protect it, and Megatron uses it as an excuse Optimus to accuse Optimus of dooming Cybertron and rallying further support from the Cybertronians. Guilt-ridden, Optimus leads a small Autobot team into Earth to recover the Allspark. Really, they aren't entirely sure it is on Earth, but they had to begin in searching, and it seemed to me the most likely places. Megatron intercepts, causing both ships to crash, scattering stasis pods across the Earth, as they brought stasis pods along with them, in the event that they would find the Allspark. And some elements here I would like to have refined further, by the way. Both factions remained dormant for decades. I decided to make it decades rather than in millions of years, like in G1. Teletrans 1 in auto repair revives a Decepticon and after an earthquake, who restores Megatron's crew. A similar event revives Optimus's Autobots. That's quite later on. And during this time, Elita 1, who is acting as leader on Cybertron, and sends a small little team to go search for the Allspark. This team becomes known as the Maximals, and has their own little fight with the Predacons on Earth during this period. Decepticons announced themselves, stealing energy, as were from the dam. The Allspark, caught in an Autobot Decepticon battle, shatters into fragments. It's spawning Earthborn Transformers, as the effects of the Allspark bring machines to life, as giant robots. Among these, we have Wreck-Gar and the Junkions. A fragment in animates Wreck-Gar in a junkyard. They're creating a chaotic, good-natured Junkion, and creating a chaotic, good-natured Junkion tribe with pop culture quirks. The erratic sparks resist the Matrix's guidance. The Dinobots, intentionally built by a human mechanic with the assistance of Ratchet, end up to help fight against the Decepticons. Initially, they turn out to be a total failure, seeing as they don't have actual sparks. But a fragment of the Allspark gets into them, and they are brought to life. But their dim-witted, rebellious nature makes them hard to control. And after Megatron deceives and uses them to attack the Autobots, as they become somewhat furious about being used in this manner, as they are rather independent creatures. Optimus earns their loyalty after dueling Grimlock and winning. And of course, with each side of the factions gaining pieces of the Allspark, they also begin in the hunt for the stasis pods to increase their ranks. Of course, using the fragments to bring life to these protoforms that were scattered across the planet. One transformer in particular is Hot Rod. With partial Cybertronian heritage, but he lacks Vector Sigma's guidance, making them less erratic, but more of a Matrix resistant. sort of an innate sense that the one who holds the matrix is the leader. Though it's not, of course, definitive. The limited one and leads Cybertron post Optimus Prime's exile, as I mentioned. As the two factions manage to collect pieces, they eventually each end up with about roughly half of the Allspark each. So they each make a decisive bid for the other. The Decepticons building a space bridge and bringing the fight to both worlds of Cybertron and Earth. During the fight, during this decisive battle, Optimus Prime and Megatron face off one-on-one at the space bridge. The space bridge is damaged, and Megatron is gravely injured and is sent hurtling into space by a miscalibration of the space bridge's damage. There, drifting aimlessly in space, awaiting his death, he encounters Unicron. Unicron uses its own dark essence to reforge Megatron into Galvatron. And during this scuffle for the Allspark, the unlikely victor to end up ultimately reuniting the Allspark is Starscream. Reveling in his victory, to obtain the Allspark, and of course with the intent to raise an army for himself and gain power over both Cybertron and Earth, or at least Cybertron. I'm not sure if he really gives a damn about Earth. However, his victory is short-lived. As Galvatron reappears to the space bridge, killing Starscream and taking the Allspark for himself. Of course, since Starscream was holding the Allspark at the time of his death, instead of being fully killed, he was turned into a sort of ghost. There is a quintesson in subplot here, but we'll get into that later. Galvatron goes to Cybertron and begins corrupting it, but we still need to repair the well of the Allsparks. In order to do this, Optimus delves deep into the Matrix, searching for the knowledge of Primus. However, doing so comes at a great risk, since the Matrix and the Prime Spark are linked. And going so deep into the Matrix risks that their spark merge with the Matrix forever, and the Prime effectively could die. And unfortunately, this is exactly what happened in Optimus. The Matrix is then passed on into the Earthborn Cyber Transformer or Hot Rod, turning him into Rodimus Prime. To carry on Optimus's legacy, he in search for a means of restoring Cybertron. However, Galvatron's bid for Cybertron is swift with the Allspark, building himself an army and taking over, even merging himself with the planet. He begins building a giant space bridge near the planet to bring Unicron there. The Autobots, of course, are getting the notice of this and try and stop the space bridge's construction, but fail. The space bridge is activated, destroying many of Galvatron's own Decepticon and army in the process, but brings Unicron through. Here, now orbiting around Cybertron. Galvatron uses the Allspark, using himself both as a filter, so as to not poison Unicron with Primus's own energy, as the two who are somewhat incompatible. And since Galvatron is both of Primus and of Unicron at this point, and he acts as a perfect filter to make sure this doesn't happen. Galvatron, or Unicron, now active, begins to vow to turn his sights on Earth, to devour it. And this leaves Rodimus in a dilemma. Save Cybertron or save Earth? Both are his home, as far as he's concerned. He ends up getting into Unicron, opening the Matrix. The energy surges throughout Unicron. This destroys his Unicron and putting him back into a dormant state. But also, since Optimus Prime's spark was deep within it, also it restores Optimus Prime. So now we have Rodimus and Optimus operating together. The two primes, linked into the Matrix, however, return into Cybertron. We find out that what Rodimus had done was what was necessary to restore the well. However, seeing as Rodimus had used it to destroy Unicron, it can't be used like this again for some time. Another means of restoring the well has to be done, and that is one matrix that is a spark with the power of the Matrix, and a female Cybertronian must merge. Thus, Elita 1 and an Optimus sacrifice themselves into the well of the Allspark. In the meantime, in order to get to the well, the ghost of Starscream, he manages to distract Galvatron, and not as a means as part of his own revenge, and rather than any loyalty towards the Autobots. Entirely self-serving move, but it worked in favor of Optimus and Rodimus. With the power of the well and Allspark restored, the energy surges through Cybertron, purging it of the poison of Unicron and of Galvatron himself. Again, hurtling Galvatron deep into space. And as for Unicron, it becomes a moon of Cybertron. A new golden era for Cybertron is now upon them. But is that really the end? No, I had two endings in mind. One where Galvatron is completely destroyed, or one where he's barely clinging to life, and the Quintesson ship picks him up, leaving a question mark for the future. What do you think? Do you think I should end it with Galvatron's full destruction, or do you think I should end it with the Quintesson picking up a barely living Galvatron, and for a possible further installment? I'd like to know what you guys think about that, and I hope you like the little Kitbashed compilation. And that was kind of off the cuff for me. And yes, I was just kind of choosing little pieces here and there from the various different continuities. It was interesting. I do admit I do feel like it needs some refinement, though. So, and like I said, it had that Quintesson and subplot of them running into and being distracted. I felt that needed that I hadn't really worked out the details on that. them being revived with Teletran Run, I wanted to do something a little bit different than what we saw in the Ju-Wing cartoon, but still can't keep that same vibe. So that would probably would need some refinement there. I think the Quint's finding him would make for a more interesting story. All right. But I personally want Galvatron to be stagged. Yeah, I was thinking if they do have if I do continue the story, maybe having a reincarnated version of Optimus. It's maybe like one version and was a they have you can call him I don't know Omega Prime or something like that. Seeing as that's Optimus combined with another Transformer. So maybe you have Optimus reincarnated, being that his spark is essentially back with the All Spark arc. He could come back in the Pro form in some fashion with vague memories of his past. Yes, and the Matrix's leadership is then passed on to this new Transformer, and so on and so forth. That would also give a story of Galvatron returning, perhaps in a new and upgraded form, as well. But like I said, this was just me just kind of going down a rabbit hole with Grok yesterday, and wasn't really intended for anything. I didn't even intend to even do this much. Ah, Nemesis Prime. Yes, we bringing him into the story. It'd be interesting. Well, but we end things with a little bit with a song, since I still have about half hour here. But like I said, I was going to be doing things finishing a little early here. So we can get a couple more songs in before I wrap things up. Babyface. Rosy cheeks and turned up nose and curly hair. I'm raving about my baby now. Pretty little dimples here and dimples there. Don't want to live without her. I love her, goodness knows. I wrote a song about her, and here's the way it goes. Baby face, you got the cutest little baby face. There's not another one that could take your place, baby face. My poor heart is jumping, you sure have started something, baby face. I'm up in heaven in your fond embrace. I didn't need a shove, 'cause I fell in love with your pretty baby face. When you were a baby not so long ago, you must have been the cutest thing. I can picture you at every baby show, just wetting every ribbon with your sweet baby way. Say honest, I ain't fibbing, you'd win 'em all today. Baby face, you got the cutest little baby face. There's not another one that could take your place. Baby face, my poor heart is jumping, you sure have started something. Baby face, I'm up in heaven in your fond embrace. I didn't need a shove, 'cause I fell in love with your pretty baby face. Well, that's perfectly okay. I'm going to be wrapping up soon anyway. So I hope you have a good night. So how about we come up with one more song for the road here. Let's see what we'll end with here. Well, it doesn't feel like a good song to end on. Hello, my baby. That's not a good song to end on. Well, we'll do it, but how about we end on Drunken Sailor? How's that sound? I've got a little baby, but she's out of sight. I talk to her across the telephone. I haven't seen my honey, but she's mine, alright. So take my tip and leave this gal alone. Every single morning you can hear me yell, "Hey Central, fix me up across the line." You connect me with my honey, then I ring the bell. And this is what I say to baby mine. Hello, my baby, hello, my honey, hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire, baby, my heart's on fire. If you refuse me, honey, you lose me, then you'll be left alone. Oh, baby, telephone and tell me I'm your own. Hello, hello, baby. Hello, I guess you can't hear me. The wires must be poor somewhere. Hello, hello, I said hello this morning through the phone. She said her name was Bess. Though I kind of know where I am at. I'm satisfied because I got my babe's dress here pasted in the lining of my hat. I'm mighty scared if the wires get crossed, they'll separate me from my baby mine. Then some other fool will win her. The game is lost. So each day I shout across the line. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire. Baby, my heart's on fire. If you refuse me, honey, you lose me, then you'll be left alone. Oh, baby, telephone and tell me I'm your own. Come on, baby. All right. Well, if I'm gonna be doing Drunken Sailor, I should take a drink first. Oh, what do you do with a drunken sailor? What do you do with a drunken sailor? What do you do with a drunken sailor early in the morning? Way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises early in the morning. Shave his belly a rusty razor, shave his belly a rusty razor, shave his belly a rusty razor early in the morning. Way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises early in the morning. Put me in the Scarborough hose, pop bottom. Put me in the Scarborough hose, pop bottom. Put me in the Scarborough hose, pop bottom. Early in the morning. Way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises early in the morning. Put me a longboat till it's sober. Put me a longboat till it's sober. Put me a longboat till it's sober early in the morning. Way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises early in the morning. Put him in bed with the captain's daughter. Put him in bed with the captain's daughter. Put him in bed with the captain's daughter early in the morning. Way hey up she rises. Way hey up she rises. Way hey up she rises early in the morning. That's what you do with a drunken sailor. That's what you do with a drunken sailor. What do we do with a drunken sailor early in the morning? Way hey up she rises. Way hey up she rises. Way hey up she rises early in the morning. Way hey up she rises. Way hey up she rises. Way hey up she rises early in the morning. Yeah, that's Drunken Sailor. And some things I have in the pipeline while I'm getting in the link to go over to our next show. Let's see here. Where are you? I know you were planning on doing a show. There you are. Cosmic Theater here. You can go over to Theta's channel there and check him out. He will be doing a little show for Nightbreed and the Monster Squad tonight. Little doubleheader for you guys to enjoy and riff on. So I hope to see you there. Signing out. And May the force be with you.